House File HF 826 documenting the assault against our children, parents, and citizens. You can find out more information by going to pmaforum.org. We highly recommend the parental advisory because of the explicit content and nature of what is going to be discussed. To give some background information, I would like to show you the Locke model form of a constitutional republic. The Locke model illustrates the constitutional republic originally set by our founding fathers for America. It is based upon God-given inalienable rights which have the most say and direction to people's lives and conduct. These inalienable rights are given to individuals which have the biggest level of power and say in their lives and collectively in government by the people. It's individual citizens that create city government. The next level of a lesser form of government power and control is called the county government, once again created collectively by individuals. A lesser and even more limited form of government created above county government is state government. It is the individual states by the say and power of its citizens that has created the federal government. The federal government has the least and most limited amount of control and say to the individuals. It is under a contract that this least form of government is limited and serves to the God-given inalienable rights of individuals. This contract is called the Constitution of the United States, under which we call its citizens Americans. Not Black Americans, White Americans, German Americans, Swedish Americans, or by any other name. This is America with American citizens, not American people groups. It maintains its sovereignty and distinction from other countries and world powers. The U.S. Supreme Court used international sources to guide its decisions in recent domestic cases such as Lawrence versus Texas, which overturned state sodomy laws, as it has done in every state, including Minnesota. In Lawrence versus Texas, the court used international law to interpret the U.S. Constitution, discovering a new constitutional right to engage in homosexual conduct. Lawrence was not the first time the court had used international law to interpret our Constitution. So it is the United Nations that is intent on stealing our nation's sovereignty and overturning state laws from you. State statutes define sodomy as meaning carnally knowing any person by the anus or with or by the mouth or the digestive system. It is a voluntary act and listed with other sex crimes. Because of the U.S. Supreme Court, as directed by the UN decision previously discussed, the penalty for sodomy becomes unenforceable even though it is still state law. However, some individuals are aware of the destruction of sodomy to the family, community, and the financial health of the state, and are placing pressure on state legislators to protect the public and not this special interest group's agenda. How about the citizens of Minnesota? Are you willing to do your responsibility too? The following are some reasons why you should be concerned and react. The following facts are the anatomical differences between the digestive system and the female reproductive system. Please note the references. They are peer-reviewed prior to publication. The rectum, digestive system, oral or anal, consists of a highly absorbent single-layered wall of columnar epithelial cells. It is far more fragile than the multi-layered vaginal wall made up of squamous cells and thus a more flexible and protected organ. Ongoing anal intercourse often leads to the breakdown of normal rectal functions due to the trauma of the anal sphincter muscle. Thus, basic anatomical facts demonstrate that the lower intestinal tract was never intended to be used as a sex organ. But if body design isn't a sufficient argument against anal and oral intercourse, the tragic reality of AIDS ought to be conclusive. Its physical structure also makes the rectum highly susceptible to the infiltration of disease. Studies have also indicated that the body's natural immune system is broken down by repeated exposure to sperm during anal and oral intercourse. The reason rests again in the difference between anal and vaginal membranes. Now get this, sperm can penetrate the former but not the latter. In other words, vaginal membrane's a barrier and the digestive membrane is absorbent. While it is true that all of the diseases discussed above can be found among heterosexuals, statistics support the conclusion that homosexual, precisely because of their sexual behavior, are significantly more susceptible to infection, sickness, and death. Remember, these are doctor peer-reviewed publications of findings of fact. Here's an illustration of the facts we just read. The egg in the female is waiting to be fertilized by the sperm from the male. The sperm has three main parts. The front has an enzyme for egg penetration, a compartment containing DNA chromosomes, and a tail for propulsion. Together, the egg and sperm have the DNA necessary for conception. The egg has a strong membrane protecting its contents. The sperm uses the enzyme in the front of it to burn through the egg membrane. When the sperm gets through the membrane into the egg, fertilization takes place and the egg puts out a toxic hormone stopping other sperm from entering in. This process is called conception. In the female reproductive system, the squamous or cubular-shaped cells are designed to stretch during sex and childbirth. They are multi-layered, as you can see in the side view, and staggered in the multiple layers, as you can see in the top view, and act as a barrier so sperm cannot get into the bloodstream. The vaginal wall is a barrier to contain the sperm against getting into the bloodstream. This is how the female sex organ is designed to work, to protect her from the sperm entering into the blood. In the digestive system, whether oral or anal, the single layer of columnar-shaped cells are designed to absorb the good or bad foods, medicines, and things we put in it. The cells are loose with gaps between them, as you can see in the top view, and move down and up to promote and allow passage into the bloodstream. When sperm enters a digestive system, it is quickly absorbed into the blood. It is the enzyme in the sperm that causes the immune system to fail. AIDS stands for Acquired Immune Deficiency Syndrome. Acquired is defined in the dictionary as to gain for oneself through one's actions or efforts. Syndrome is defined as a distinctive or characteristic pattern of behavior. Sodomy is a voluntary act to destroy the immune system that protects us from disease, various cancers, and other health issues. On Planned Parenthood website, it states that taking semen into the digestive system is not unhealthy. They say there's nothing unhealthy about swallowing semen. This is an outright lie because sperm and the HIV virus are in the semen. It will deceive the children that become adults to believe that they will probably not get sick and or cause death from sodomizing themselves. The organizations protect themselves with deception and ignorant or willingly ignorant lawmakers and law, relying on the children's innocence and public's lust and programmed desire to engage in alternate sexual behavior and sodomy.